And my family is really funny. I didn't growing up. I didn't realize. The older I get, the more I realize. I'm like, wow, my family is really into music. Like, I just thought everybody's family was like that, but like we were poor, not just broke, but poor. And my dad would do ridiculous shit like rent to own. He was really big into rent to
Uh-huh.
own.
Okay.
So like we would have like my mom, oh my God, still to this day, that's another story. She rented to owned a recliner the other day, and I was like, Mom,
Oh, they
this was
still
like two
do
years
that.
ago. I was like, Mom,
Okay.
just fucking call me. I'll get your recliner that you don't have to rent. Like, just like, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Hi, Beth. How are you?
Never been better. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Um, you're at
I'm Adam. So nice to meet you.
you. Will it be distracting? This might be annoying. I'm sorry. You can tell me the truth. Won't bother me at all. Um, if I put my eyeliner on while we do this.
No, that'd be cool.
Yeah, you're gonna learn the real tricks, baby.
I
Yeah,
love
so
the behind the
something.
scenes stuff like that. That's cool. I'm down with that.
Oh well, I'm glad to oblige. Is it just me and you, or is it Nathan?
I think Nathan just popped on.
Popping on. Yeah, so I can also hide the screen if it's too distracting. The last interview we were doing, I tried to put on the eyeliner and it just did not work out the whole time.
Oh, all
Where
good.
are you?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville.
Nashville.
Yeah, hey
Uh-oh,
Nathan, how
Nathan's
are
here.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
Are you from
fantastic.
Nashville?
No, from San Diego.
Oh
Oh,
shit.
beautiful town, Balboa Park.
A Yankee.
Ah, yes. So I
That's
moved
not
out
technically
here.
a Yankee.
Technically Mexico, really.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
My in
We
laws live
stole it.
there.
We took it back. Or took it from them, I guess. I don't know.
No, I don't think it ever went back. No, I don't
No,
think it ever
probably
went
not.
back. No, it's in the United States, so no.
No.
Um, yeah, but my in-laws live there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they live down there. It's the
Very
only time I
cool.
ever spent time there.
Did you like San Diego?
Yeah, I mean, we used to play this club. We never spent a lot of because when you're on tour, especially back then, like we'd be in a van, so you'd have to like go straight to the show, go play the show, go straight to bed, wake up early. Same thing the next day. But we used to play this club called the Casbah. Do you know where that
Yeah.
is?
Oh, I used
Yeah,
to
the
go there all the
Casbah's
time.
awesome.
Rest in
Casbah's
peace,
awesome.
Big O. Rest in peace, Big O.
Yeah, Big
Oh, I
O.
love O. I love Otis.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Uh,
Um,
Nathan, do you mind putting on your camera or?
My phone's acting really weird. My Wi-Fi's going in and out. So is it okay if I just do audio? Because when I turned the camera on, it was cutting out earlier.
you have the
I don't know why.
shitty. Nathan is
My
saying,
phone is
okay.
fucked up. My phone broke in Europe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Also, I'll
fine.
tell you this: we were staying at a hotel, and the Wi-Fi was the slowest Wi-Fi I've ever encountered in my life, and that's saying something because I don't do anything but like watch YouTube videos. So you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to zip over an email really fast. Like nothing
Sure.
matters.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
fine, Nathan. We'll run with Beth and my camera and your name. That's cool.
Cool. That's
can
perfect.
we have like a cool banner for his name? Like, could you do something cool? Like,
Beans in it.
what did you
But
say? Did you say wingdings?
I said they're missing out with this ugly ass mustache that probably has food in it still.
You're
uh,
what from what? What'd you have for breakfast?
I actually
Yeah.
didn't eat breakfast, so
Okay, well that's not good for you.
I'm lying.
I'm lying. I had
the
two
most
boxes of
important meals of the
Cheerios.
day, they say. What'd you
That's
You
what
have,
know,
they
I'm
Beth?
not.
say.
I'm only a breakfast eater on tour, really. If I'm on press days, but
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah. So is that the question you wanted to ask? Are we done
Yeah,
here?
that's how we had. That was it. I just want to know what you guys had for breakfast. No, this is about the both of you
Well,
and
that's
your.
funny because you wanted to know what we had for breakfast, but you didn't even ask me. So,
Oh, what did you have for breakfast?
oh, never mind. It's not important. I can already tell you don't really care.
You said what you had, and then I missed
Oh
it.
no, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't. Well, now I'm
Also,
super
Adam, I'm kidding.
curious.
Well, I
But
had
I am
toast and
curious.
eggs. I had toast and eggs, if you must know.
What kind of eggs? Scrambled or
Yeah,
sunny side?
scrambled. How did you
Oh,
know?
there
There's
you
a
go.
lot of ways to have eggs.
I'm sunny side up only. Sunny side up only.
Sunny
I'm
side
an
of
oh.
only.
Here's the thing: is I'm an over medium, but usually when you're in the hotel, like when you're doing stuff and you're working, this is bourgeoisie. This is the bougiest conversation. Um, it's messier, and I just want to throw the eggs on the toast and eat it like that. But like, yeah,
Okay, that's
I'm a
funny.
busy girl.
I'm still dreaming about the English fry up breakfast. Fuck, I love that.
Yeah, I
I've
think it's
never had
good.
that
I
one.
don't like that they fry the bread. I'm like, what are we doing here? What is
I
this?
just I just love the beans with the eggs, and it's so good. That's an
No,
amazing
you and I.
combination.
You know what I love is that you and I have a love for beans on toast, and I swear to God, it comes from our childhood. Anyway,
Oh yeah, it's the most Arkansas thing. If people in Arkansas knew about an English breakfast, they'd flip.
Well, that's funny because that's where I wanted to start. You both are from Arkansas. Did you grow up together?
we did ish. Well, we did class. I was
A town
13
away.
when I
Yeah,
met
yeah.
Nathan, 14 when we started hanging out, and like 15 when we got to know each other more. And then they kind of left and they went to Cersei High School and I went to Riverview High School. So I grew up in Judsonia.
Just a few
So
miles away. A few miles
Okay, it's
away.
not
I
very
mean
far.
it's literally the next town over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you met what in middle school or and
No,
then
I we
oh
junior high for me, high school for them.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
How did you all meet?
Um well,
Was it
if you
through
like to.
Jennifer Colbert?
Yes. I always said if I ever made a musical of my life, which I never will, it would be called Coworker's Daughter, like Coal Miner's Daughter, because Nathan and I met through my friend Jennifer Colbert, and her mom and my mom worked together. But Jennifer went to Cersei High School where they went, and she was kind of like she was from Monroe, Louisiana, and
She had a
so
Pearl Jam shirt on, and I was like, I have to talk to this girl.
yes, she was really cool. And she was the only other kid that I knew. Well, one of the only other kids that I knew that liked that kind of music. And the only way we would have met was through our parents. So that was really lucky. But like she moved up from Monroe and she brought all these tapes of MTV with her.
Hmm.
And we lived in a town where you couldn't get MTV. So like I don't know, it was just a really cool connection. Like I got to watch, episodes of 120 minutes and see videos I never got to see before and stuff like that. So that
Oh
was really, really
wow.
cool. Yeah.
You didn't have
And so we met
MTV.
through her.
They didn't have it in the place in Arkansas you live? That's
Our
interesting.
town. Rumor has it that Footloose was based on the town we grew up in, and I think that's true.
Rumor has
Really?
it it's not true, but it is like that.
It's similar.
My
Interesting.
brother, yeah, because it's Church of Christ and Southern Baptist, like it
Mhm.
rules that town. Like I always say, diversity in Arkansas was when a Methodist and the Church of Christ and Southern Baptist were in the same room together. Like that is the peak white county Arkansas diversity. But like but
Cross
like
denominational diversity.
yeah, it's like as diverse as it got. But I mean that's not true, really. That's actually not really fair. But um especially now. But
There's a lot of diversity in Arkansas now, actually.
yeah, well, yeah, there really is. I mean, well, it's different. It's so much different. But like, especially where I grew up, because there's a lot of farm towns. Anyway, so well, you too, Nathan. But on the different, I grew up on a different side of the different river. It's a whole other thing. So, I what were we like? How did we meet? Oh yeah, that's how we met. Was there another question? I can't remember.
No, I was just curious how the both of you met. What about as
Oh
far
yeah,
as
that was it.
okay? Well, as far as music goes, Beth, did you grow up in I know you have a lot of siblings. Did you grow up in a musical family? Does
Have
anyone
you
else
ever
do
seen
music?
Skinny
Sound of
kid,
Music?
skinny kid.
Yeah, have you seen Sound of Music before?
Yes.
It was nothing like that.
Oh, okay.
Um, and my family is really funny. I didn't growing up. I didn't realize. The older I get, the more I realize I'm like, wow, my family is really into music. Like, I just thought everybody's family was like that, but like we were poor, not just broke, but poor. And my dad would do ridiculous shit, like rent to own. He was really big into rent to
Uh-huh.
own.
Okay.
So, like, we would have like my mom. Oh my god, still to this day, that's another story. She rented to owned a recliner the other day, and I was like, Mom,
Oh, they
this is
still
like two
do
years
that.
ago. I was like, Mom,
Okay.
just fucking call me. I'll get your recliner that you don't have to rent. Like, just like, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Rent to own is
Anyway,
capitalist slavery.
what'd you
It's
say?
similar to like layaway, right? Where you pay for it and then
No,
eventually.
Lay
it's
Oh,
it's the
yep.
interest is so expensive because you pay by week.
oh,
It's
oh,
capitalist
sure.
slavery. It's capitalist slavery at its best.
Oh my
Is it?
gosh. I've
What's
seen
the
it on like
slavery part of
rims
it?
and like
It's more just like
televisions.
capitalist interest inflation of like it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
actually work.
slavery is a harsh word to use, but but
Yeah,
it does
slavery is not the
make
right
you,
word.
it keeps you in the
It keeps the
system
poor
and
poor.
charges you more. Yeah, it keeps the poor poor and the rich get
Yeah.
richer.
And
Right.
like they get to like they have access to things that they wouldn't have access to usually, like even a computer or something sometimes. Anyway, so that's how we got by a lot of the time. But my dad would do this brilliant thing called rent to own. But like we would have no food in the house. Like, this is when I'm my dad's baby and there's three more like after me. But
Mhm.
so when I was little, he would like bring home this just immaculate sound system, rent to own. And my mom would be livid, fucking livid. And then anyway, but would be bologna. I guess we were doing fine. They'll eat lunch at school. Who cares? It's funny because it wasn't like my dad didn't care. It just maybe he kind of didn't. Anyway, so like we always had a booming sound system in the house, and like I remember my mom was always there was a lot of talk about like the sounds of shit, like I remember my mom having, we had Blizzard of Oz on LP, the Ozzy Osbourne
Yeah,
record.
yeah.
And we had, my mom was the kind of mom who was like really into, like, she was young in the 80s. So like she was really into Black Sabbath and she was really into Pink Floyd. I think Pink Floyd and the Beatles are probably her favorite band, but she listens to Pink Floyd more. I feel like the Beatles is more nostalgic for her.
Mhm.
And I think the reason why she loves Pink Floyd is because the production is incredibly deep and good. And
Mhm.
as a kid, she talked about that kind of shit all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't like. She wouldn't say the words production, but she'd be like, this is the kind of record you've got to listen to on headphones. You have to hear it on headphones. You can't just listen to it." Like she was always talking about stuff like that. And then I got older and like one of the records that made me think of my mom, follow me if you will, was when that Daft Punk record came out and it was all analog and like people
Mm.
were talking shit about it or whatever.
Mhm.
And I was like, this fucking record is brilliant because I was raised on, got to listen to this on headphones. You got to listen
Mhm.
to every little part of it. You have to understand what it means. Like, like a lot of talk and dissecting sounds and music and like that kind of stuff. And then my dad, my brother, who was only around 14, started playing drums. He's my oldest brother. He's 43. He is 51 now.
Okay.
As a 14-year-old, would go and tour with my cousin's band, and they would tour with like fucking no shit, like Little Richard, and do the riverboat gambling circuit around,
No way.
Tunica and Natchez and shit. Yeah,
Oh
and
my
so like,
gosh.
yeah, he was never in school. He quit school really young. Um, so like that kind of stuff back then, because you're like, oh, 50s, 50s stars, whatever, but like now when I'm older, I'm like, what the fuck? Like that really happened, like he can tell you stories about Little Richard and shit. And like that kind of stuff. And my dad, because of my cousin and him playing music, and he really wanted to be a big star, like in, Nashville, and he was going to sign a contract and everything, and it fell apart because he's a different person, not my
Mhm.
brother, but my cousin. But like, like my dad would do sound
He's
for him at
still
the
playing
honky
shows,
tonks
by
and
the
the
way.
VFW and stuff.
I see Kenny Kidd's show advertisements in like the Daily Citizen in Cersei still. He plays shows every once in a
That's my
while.
cousin. Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
he sure does.
And how
He's
stoked
crazy
was
as a
he
I
for
feel like
you all? I
VFW in Little
mean,
Rock.
to
They played
see
it. They played the like they did honky tonks all the time, and yeah, yeah.
but they
My
see
brother
your
played drums, and
success,
my
are they
dad
like,
did
whoa,
sound.
like they must be, I mean, to see what you've done, right? Are they stoked on that?
My brother is. My
Yeah.
brother could not be more proud. In fact, when I got dropped off at the airport when I was 18, because like I never phoned anywhere, done anything. It was my high school boyfriend dropped me off, and my brother Benny, who I was talking about, and my sister Acacia, because they just really, I moved in with them around 12 or so. I moved in with my aunt and helped her take care of, she had some foster kids who were also my cousins, but they weren't her kids anymore, blah blah blah. But
Mhm.
I helped to take care of them and lived with them, slept on the couch. That was my bedroom. And then I helped, and she died of cancer at 14ish, 15 at 15. And then I moved in with my brother Benny and my sister Acacia, and all through that, I worked, did my best, and they're the ones that dropped me off at the airport. Like they, but now, but like even saying that, like my sister Acacia, who's 3 years older than me, is so funny, but she's obsessed with hip hop. She can tell you every fucking Spotify rapper. Like she's just like, like she's obsessed with music, and we all talk about production all the time. And then all of my nieces and nephews, like a lot of them ended up going to that really controlling Christian college, because it's a good Christian college, actually. It's a good school, but it's really expensive, blah, blah, blah. But on scholarship for trumpet and trombone. So, like,
Wow.
I didn't realize, but all that to say, I didn't realize until I was older how into music my family was, but not in this way that, like, it's showbiz, baby, but in this way that, like, we always had music on in the house. Like, we were always listening to, everything. Everything was on. My dad was more of a country music. He loved the Bee Gees, obsessed with the Bee Gees. Would talk about the production and the piano parts and the harmonies and shit, like
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. But
But I mean, it
yeah,
sounds like there's a lot of players, right, in your family as far as that goes, like trumpet
yeah,
players, your drummers. And did
yeah.
you start playing an instrument early on, or like,
Hell
I mean,
no, I
you have
can't
a
play
great
one
voice.
now.
You just was
Choir.
singing
The choir. I was
choir.
in choir. I was in church choir for a bit, and I stole all those solos. I was in high school choir.
Okay.
I was really into high school choir, and then yeah, mostly I just sang a lot. It was actually my sister Acacia, the one I was telling you about, the one that
Mhm.
knows every fucking rapper in the world. She she used to just, like, out of the blue. And to know my sister, you would think this is funny. You would never think this about her. She's a fucking spy. She will clean your clock. She's not give a shit. She and I could not be more opposite. Like, I'm just like, can we just not be extra today and, like, just be kind and, like, tiptoe? She's like, fuck you. Like, she will lose her shit. But, like, she doesn't sing. She just loves music. But she used to enter me in contests and stuff. And then, like, she'd pick me up from school and be like, hey, I put you into this talent show. Like, I think you could, I had one karaoke tape from a school talent show thing I did, and it had like 3 songs on it. And she's like, I think you could win it. So let's go, and I never
Wow.
won, but she was always doing, like, a few times she did stuff like that for me. And, like, my mom didn't have time to do that. She had too many kids. She worked too much, but,
Mhm. But
you
to
know,
have her, yeah, be so supportive. I mean, that's amazing. Hey, I'm gonna take you to this. You're so good. I'm gonna take you to this karaoke contest.
yeah, she really thought I was good, and I always thought that was really sweet, because, like, my sister was the pretty one. I was always chubby, and, like, I was always a fat kid. I was always a loud kid, and I was always nuts. And, like, my sister's loud and funny too, but, like, she was blonde and thin, and she's the tallest one in the family. I don't, 5'4". So then, she was, though, and she was, like, in homecoming and stuff like that. I mean, I
Mhm.
was in a lot of school shit too. Like, don't get me wrong, I was all over that bitch. But, like, you know, mine I think was more for, like, personality, like,
Mhm.
I think. But yeah, she was always taking care of me in the best way, because she didn't really have that mentor for her. And she wanted me to go to college. She's like, I want you, I want you. She wanted me to go to Ole Miss, because they had, like, the third best choir in the country or something. And I was like, Acacia, I can't even fucking read music. Her name's Acacia. I was like, I can't even fucking read music. I'm not going to go to Ole Miss. I'm not going to pass that. Let's get that straight. And I don't want to go to school. So,
Mhm.
like, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Nathan, what about your family and
Yeah, I was
music?
gonna ask Nathan next. So tell me your journey, kind of as far as musical family. What did
Well,
you
no,
start
no,
off on?
zero musicians. My options were to join the Air Force, so I moved to Olympia to start a punk band. But I
Hey,
do remember my parents were wild, kind of, party animals, and I do remember they would blast music all fucking night. And at the time, I was like, oh God, I just want to go to sleep. But, like, my dad liked listened to Black Sabbath, and I think that like hearing Black Sabbath's guitars blasting through the walls,
Mhm.
like, was maybe important.
At
but
least
the
they
best,
listen to good music, right? I mean, both you
Yeah,
and
I mean,
Beth grew up
yeah, I mean,
on Ozzy
I,
and Black Sabbath, right?
I mean, yeah, exactly. My dad loved Black Sabbath, and I remember listening to, like, Tony Iommi's guitar blasting through my walls, trying to go to sleep before school, and I kind of hated it at the time. But now that I think back on it, I'm like, oh damn,
It
Yeah,
could have
no,
been worse.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
I always think, well, your dad is such a Bob Seger dad to me. My dad liked Bob Seger too.
He does love Bob Seger, but he also liked ABBA and like he had such he
Oh my God,
liked ABBA
dad's favorite band.
and he also liked Black Sabbath. It's weird. It was kind of an
No,
interesting
favorite band
taste.
in the
Yeah.
90s. What was his favorite band in the 90s?
Well, his CD collection was interesting. It was like Aerosmith and then Black Sabbath, and then he loved country, like old country, like Hank Williams
Yeah,
and Johnny Cash. But then he passed away a few years ago. Rest in peace. Love ya. But he loved Taylor Swift. The last year that I had with him, he was jamming on Taylor Swift all the time.
I love Taylor Swift too.
That's so weird. He wasn't afraid to like he actually, I mean, as flawed
that
as
is-
a man that he was open in some ways. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's funny. Well, did
my
you start? All right, sorry, go ahead, Beth.
no, done. You already talked to me. I'll do my eyeliner. Y'all talk.
I was just gonna.
No,
I
but
was
I mean,
curious.
he's like they were my family are like all pipeline or Air Force people, so they're like
Okay.
hardcore guys, and but I just kind of loved that he loved like Black Sabbath, and then also ABBA, and then
Uh-huh.
loved Taylor Swift,
Sure. Yeah. Very.
but was
Yeah.
like the wildest fucking hillbilly you could ever fucking imagine in your life.
Lord,
Uh,
yeah. What I think is
Where
funny,
like
my,
overalls with no shirt day after day.
that's
oh my
awesome.
dad. My
But
dad
like,
did
oh, I love this. He's like, I love this Shake It Off Taylor Swift jam.
sorry, I
And
keep it
like you know, shooting shotguns into the night, jamming on Taylor Swift.
chasing us off the land.
Oh
You're
yeah, that too.
I think kind of made you what's so interesting about you and kind of made you use like sometimes when you're walking around now that we're grown ups, and I mean it in the best way of those great parts of your dad, Robbie, like that is so his dad, like
We are our parents, right? Genetics,
yeah.
but he was interesting in that he was like open to listening to things that maybe didn't fit his. I mean, a fucking wild ass hillbilly driving a bulldozer, and wanting to jam to "Shake It Off" by Taylor Swift.
Yeah. That's
That's
too funny.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting combination. Yeah, wild
Sure.
combination.
That really is.
And
Did you?
I
Sorry. Go
appreciate
ahead.
that. I appreciate that like rejection of societal norms. Perhaps there are things
Hmm.
I didn't love and accept at the time, but I kind of love that he didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty.
nobody's
Yeah.
how to shell not to listen to T Swift.
I know. I
No,
mean, you're just like a fucking guy on a farm, so he didn't have many friends, and it was me and my sister were the people we talked to, and but yeah, it was funny. He was kind of eccentric, but like secretly eccentric.
oh
Hmm.
my god, your dad was a major eccentric.
Totally eccentric, and like was never when he was a child, his pet was a fucking raccoon, and
That's amazing.
they raised he raised the rac. They lived in a place called Mount Zion in Missouri, and he
Uh-huh.
raised this fucking
Beautiful
raccoon. It was like,
area.
and it was his best friend, and people made fun of him because his best friend was a raccoon. And one day, after a few years, it went feral and like ripped up all my grandma's like plants and tore because they have like a thumb, so it like fucking pulled the ceiling fan down, destroyed all the lamps, and had to get rid of it. And it broke his heart. And I'm like, damn, what an interesting person, really.
That's hilarious.
It also makes it makes your childhood, it puts your childhood into so much perspective. You're like,
Yeah, it does, and it's like it's kind of it's a bummer in some ways. I mean, okay, our parents can be flawed. We come from a place where people were very it's backwoods shit, and people don't
Mhm.
know. They only know what they know, and you see flaws in them when you're young. And I was like, I want to get out of here. I fucking hate this. And later, I'm like, okay, if you want to love somebody, there are things you accept, and there are things you may not like, but you want to love somebody, and you sacrifice yourself sometimes to find love, and it's beautiful, and
that's what
it's
adult child is. I think it's such a big part of it was being a grown up. The child is an adult person who's still someone's child. Is that eventually you have to say, am I going to live this way and be angry all the time? Am I going to be
yeah,
hard?
yeah. Can we choose joy?
Yes. Can we choose joy? And can I just look at you and say that, no one would choose to go through the things that you go through every day, You know, that's not a choice.
Unless yeah, and but you have to. I think that love and acceptance is so powerful, and even in the face of flaws, and even in the face of danger, even in the face of people telling you it's the wrong thing to do, sometimes you must choose this. It's hard. It's not easy, but it's dangerous, and it can have potentially beautiful side effects that will heal years of pain.
Yeah. I
Did
learned
you
that from my mother too, Nathan, just what you're saying, you know, like
Yeah, you
she
can
had
accept
such a hard childhood. And I remember just thinking,
exactly.
you
But it
know, I
breaks
was just,
love breaks the damage cycle. I believe that.
mm. Well, I think just meeting people where they are too. Like,
Yeah,
what more do you
exactly.
want from
Like we're
somebody?
talking about radical acceptance.
Mhm.
But
There's
now
that thing too.
there's a such thing as toxicity, though. You got to be careful about toxicity. You got to be
Yeah.
careful about that.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. Gonna know when to
sometimes
walk away.
sometimes sometimes though you fall on your own sword. Sometimes you do sacrifice, and it can have beautiful results.
I
But it's
just,
hard. It's not easy. It's not easy.
I have so many siblings too. You're right, Nathan. I do believe that. Now I have so many siblings too that like, I think because I'm the only one that moved away, and Nathan moved away and then moved back, and he has a sister and stuff. Not to get
Huh.
to say too much about Nathan's life, but for me, it was like having seen these people, adult people, not all of us, but there's enough of us to say a lot of us,
And they're damaged too. You
and to
know,
say
like
yes, and also you're seeing this. You're like, we'll talk about my mother because my dad passed away too, so like we'll talk about my mom, and I'll be like, you have got to remember, number one, she had a life before you were even thought of. Number
Right.
two, she has a life
exactly.
now that has
And
nothing to do with you.
our parents
Right.
both had us when they were young, and they didn't know how to even fucking
Mm.
live life, but they chose to have children. Our children appeared, and they did the best they can. And you have to be, I think you have to kind of respect and honor that in some ways. Like at least they tried, and it was
Mm.
messy, but to try and to love is a fucking punk rock
Yeah,
as he gets. That's
yeah.
dangerous. It's hard. It's not easy. There's no rule book. There's no one to
Mm-mm.
tell you what to do that's right or wrong, but you choose to do it. And fuck, later in
And
life you can
seeing them
realize how beautiful it is.
Yeah,
and seeing them
100%.
as an adult, not seeing them as your parent, but being like talking to them as a person that
Yeah,
has
it's like when you're in
nothing
a
to
relationship
do
with
with
somebody that
you.
you romantically love, you can see them as a friend too, and you can,
Yeah,
you know,
I think that's a big difference, is being like, hey, let's talk, as like, how, instead of being like, how are you doing? And they're telling you about the flower beds. You're like, well, that's cool too, mom, but how are you? Like, what's going on in your brain today?
Right.
Like I feel like that's a big thing too. Like there's this point in
this
adulthood
time.
where you have to ask, to be like, okay, this person is a person, and like, you know, you can't just
And they have
expect
their own
something.
experiences. You can't dismiss their
Right.
experiences.
Right. And you
Right.
can't be like, boy, I mean, I know some people that are still so upset, and I'm just like, honey, you need to stop talking to your mom, or you need to like deal with, or like whatever it is. But, I'm just grateful that I'm grateful that we did have the weird childhood that we did. It really set me up. I think it set us both up for like expecting the unexpected and being okay with chaos, and like being
Oh,
okay with
totally. Yeah,
rejection.
we were able to feel comfortable in this nomadic punk rock world, I think, because we were used to damaged chaos, and we felt more comfortable going on fucking tour and quitting our shitty fast food jobs than some other people maybe who would be like, "No, I need stability." And because of that chaos, we used it to our advantage, I think. And
Yeah, not yeah.
it allowed us a freedom that some people may not have because they want such stability and balance. And we were like, fuck, let's do this. Hold my hand. Let's go all over the fucking place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. Like you had that earlier to what you were talking about, Nathan. It was like, there's no stability and there's no guarantee with
Mm-mm.
pursuing music at all, right? It's like, okay, hopefully this
There's
works
zero
out.
fucking guarantee. It's a
Yeah.
gamble. It's a risk. It's dangerous. It's wild as hell. But
Hmm.
when you are used to chaos, and maybe you can, maybe there's like an advantage to this in some ways, I mean,
Sure.
not to say that it's good. Fuck, all I want is stability these days in my life. I'm like a 44-year-old man. I'm like, oh, I sure wish I could have a stable life, but,
Yeah.
and
Can I have health insurance? Thank you. Like,
Sure.
I don't think for me, I didn't, and I can think I can speak for both of us. And I say, I don't think that I knew that that was why we were good at, like, why not make good, maybe not good, but like why we could
Wow, we
move.
could accept all the chaos because we
Yeah.
were used to it.
I would just honestly, sometimes people would say things. I'd be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, why would you, like, when people would be like, felt more secure doing something else, I'd be like, well, why would you do that when you could just do anything you want? And like, it
Yeah.
never told me that I was like, oh, because I raised myself.
Yeah, and it's like, who made these fucking rules I'm supposed to follow again?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you have to go to college and you have to do this and you have to have a backup plan. And
Yeah,
you all
no,
were
zero
both like,
backup plan.
nope,
I mean,
this is
yeah,
it. We're doing it.
that's
11th
right.
grade was like, Beth, why don't you
And
just quit?
that's really wild if you think about it. Now that we're older and we can reflect,
Mhm.
it was fucking wild to be like, let's take a gamble on this. Here we go.
Yeah, you guys, so you both moved out to Olympia. And then is that when did you have a band prior, or was it like let's go out there and just kind of see what the music scene is and let's
No,
start this
we started
project?
the band in Olympia, and Beth was supposed to go back to Arkansas and decided to stay, and we started a band with our friend Kathy from Arkansas.
Yeah, who's here
Okay.
in New York? She, yeah, that was, um, I never even thought I mean, yeah, I had to, Kathy bought my ticket because she was the only one with a credit card. Like my family, nobody had a credit card but her. And I had some money because of graduation. I had about $300, which was like a gazillion dollars back then. And Kathy was like, I'll put your airplane on my credit card and you can just pay me back later. But we could only afford a one way. And I was like, okay, well then I'll just get a job. She's like, I'll get you a job where I work. And that was at A&W Hot Dogs. And so I was like,
Oh,
oh,
I
I'll just,
love A&W hot dogs.
oh my God, let me tell you something. Those corn dog
That
nuggets.
root beer is jamming. That root beer is jamming.
Yes, it is. Sorry, go ahead.
House lived on those. That's every night we just bring home a shitload of corn dogs. But we, yeah, that was the idea. And then gossip started, and it was like one day they were playing drums. Kathy was playing drums, and Nathan was playing guitar in the basement in this house we shared. And they had written this song or something, and Kathy was like, "Hey, will you come upstairs and like come downstairs and sing in our band or whatever?" And I was like, "Okay." And I remember I was doing dishes or something. I was just sitting. It was some house thing, and I was just like, "Okay." And then we wrote 3 songs, and then the next thing we knew, Nathan came home one day. Was like, "Oh, we
Remember,
have a
with
show."
as the Red Hots was the name of our
Well,
band.
we didn't have a band name. We had to think of a band name for the flyer.
It was that's Red Hots, I think, like the candy, the shitty ass fucking candy.
Oh, fakies.
So you had a
Sorry to
show booked?
interrupt, guys. Sorry, I just wanted to flag wrap time shortly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll get into the album.
Fantastic. Thank you.
We don't have to.
We don't have to.
You don't have to get into the album, or you don't have to.
I'm just joking about who make up these rules anyway. But
Oh, okay.
Not do anything we don't want to do. So
Well, let's
just kidding.
okay.
Go
No,
ahead.
we'll just go real quick. So okay, so you had a band. You were the 3 songs, the Red Hots. Did you had and what you had a show or something? That's why you had to come up with a name.
Yeah, and then we put that on the flyer, and then none of us were really happy with the name, and so we
Okay.
just gossip one day, and then that's kind of what stuck. And then we would just, a couple more shows here and around in there. Like
Mhm.
what so funny is that Nathan would just come home and be like, "Oh, I booked a show." We'd be like, "Well, shit, now we need songs, so let's do that." It really
Okay.
it was just like that. Like we'd have to be like, well, or just like when he came home, he was like, we have a show, and we're like, well, fuck, now we need a name. I mean, like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it was like that all the time. I wouldn't have changed that at all.
urgency.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like.
kind of. Yeah, forced you to come up with something.
I learned too, like recently. Believe this or not, this might blow your mind, but in the pandemic, I was finally diagnosed with ADHD, and
Mhm.
like after all the years of people being like, "You're a maniac," and like failing everything all the time, and then one of the things that like I've been reading about a lot is how, and Nathan has it too. God, don't even get me started.
I
But
have ADHD as
Oh
well.
yeah,
So.
I do too.
yeah, we have it in very different ways. But one of the things that we do that is very similar for us is that you one, you thrive in chaos. Two, like we work better when we're put under pressure. So if we have to write an album in 3 days, we'd be like, okay, like, and but with somebody be like, you have 6 months to write an album, we'll be like, fine, we'll get around to it. Then like by the time it's 3 days till it's due, we'll be like, well, fuck, now we got to write it, and then it would probably turn out we'd spend
And
time.
here's another beautiful side effect of ADHD. You only focus on the things you love.
Yeah,
Like if you love something, you can do it. If you hate something, you won't. So
yeah,
like I think we love music, so we were both like, okay, we can do this.
yeah. I
And
didn't get it. That was my problem. I was always like, I didn't understand when I found out that I would, because people would always be like, well, why is it that you can teach yourself to knit or whatever? And I'd be like, because I give a shit. I don't know, because it's interesting. Like myself,
yeah.
I don't give a
Do
shit
you
about that.
do you feel like that was part of, like, did you write the new, I mean, because you guys had major success throughout the
Lovely,
years.
lovely segue.
Oh, sorry. Well, we're on a time crunch, I guess. So yeah, um, we did. Yeah, I mean, I got hip to you guys with Heavy Cross. I used to be on terrestrial radio for a lot of years, and I was in San Francisco at Live 105, and we played Heavy Cross, and that's when I got hip to your band, and I always thought you're amazing. Obviously,
Thank
you worked on that record, and you just did a 10-year reunion on it, or you had done a 10-year reunion on it, and this new album just came out, and you had the opportunity to work again with Rick Rubin, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So just tell me about, so you worked with, I mean, working with him, I'm sure even back in '09 was probably insane.
Yeah, it was. And I knew everything. I was nervous because I think for somebody like me, and I think probably Nathan too, but I was like, oh my God, we're such crazy scatterbrain. Like, okay, there's this person that probably has this like grand process, and he's like this renowned producer. Like, what is he going to do with us? What's it going to be like? Are we going to drive him crazy? Like, is he going to regret it? And then,
I was worried he was going to regret it.
yeah, I was. And then, so when I walked in, I said to him, and we were at the Shangri-La, and he was in his place that he was always in. And I said, so what's our process going to be? I was just like, let's just get this out of the way. And then he literally said, well, we'll know when we're done. And I swear to God, my heart went, fuck yes, finally. Like,
Wow.
like there's no plan. You don't talk about a fucking concept. You don't talk about blah. You talk, there's conversation. You speak in references. And, when you're not feeling good about the direction, he's never like, we'll try this. He's just like, keep going in the direction. You'll get where you need to be. He loves Nathan's guitar playing so much. Like he loves it as much as I do. And that always makes me feel better. And then like, I hate writing words songs. I hate it. It kills me. But like, with Rick, he's just like, just keep going in the direction you're going, and you're going to be okay. And then we'll like sit down and we'll talk about it. It was just the same as it was.
Rick's power is that he's a cheerleader for the artist.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes,
And he
and
was such a cheerleader to me and to Beth, and he didn't give a shit about the label and didn't give a shit about the music industry. He just he looks you in the eyes and says, I love what you're doing. Let's do more of this. And he's an encourager.
yeah. If it's good, if he believes in what you're doing, he'll let you do. He'll not let you. There isn't. That's the thing. It's like it's never about permission or whatever. I think it's hard to explain sometimes because people, they're always like, "Oh, he's a guru," and I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, but," and I keep saying this, but like he's not like a genie in a bottle. It's like he's not like hovering 10 feet off the ground. He's
Yeah,
like
he's just a man.
he is.
Mhm.
He knows that, and also like I think the other thing is it's like Nathan and I don't know how to read music or anything either, and neither does Rick. So like
Oh,
it's
wow, I didn't.
Yeah, we have zero music theory. I don't even know most of the fucking chords. Rick doesn't know how to use a mixing board. Beth's like, what is an octave? And so it all worked together in this like way that was just like, let's talk about references and sound as opposed to like math.
Yeah,
yeah,
back to the production that Beth was talking about earlier on, like with how she used to listen to music in headphones, and which I love about "Light It Up." I mean, that song, like the guitar is going from left to right, in your headphones.
Oh yeah,
When
the
I was
panning.
listening, yeah, I was like, this is crazy sounding.
And you know what's good? That's fun about that song is we had the Hawaiian crickets going at the beginning and we left it in. I'm so glad he wanted to leave in the Hawaiian crickets.
Because you recorded in Hawaii, right? Like
Yes.
in this wild studio with like, yeah, I was just reading about it with the glass around it. You could just see out.
Yes. Yeah, playing guitar and looking at the ocean, I was like, oh shit. this is actually beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that kind of had some influence on the record? I know, like, with Turn the
Yes,
Card
it did.
Slowly, it has like this really kind of like Hawaiian. I don't know.
That
Maybe it's
was
not Hawaiian.
that guitar. I think that song was specifically inspired by like Hawaiian slide guitar music that I was listening to when me and Beth would drive around, and I
Really,
listened to
I can
Hawaiian
I can
radio,
hear that for sure.
and we'd hear like, it's so interesting how the slide guitar, you think about it as just a southern instrument, but it was like so utilized in Hawaii.
Mhm.
It was 2017 or 2015, 20, something like that.
Yeah, that's an old song, but that like
Oh,
guitar part
really?
idea was inspired by Hawaiian slide guitar sounds.
Yeah. But
Wow.
that
Anyway, nerdy conversation, but
No, that's amazing. But I think the record's amazing. I think it's so awesome that you guys got back together and put this album together. I appreciate your time today. I know we got to wrap it up here. So I have one more quick question for both of you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Oh,
be yourself. Be yourself.
Yeah.
At all costs, be yourself.
Yeah. And find people you trust and stick with those people.
Yes.
Like,
build roots.
Build roots, exactly. Because those people are going to tell you the truth. And sometimes
they're going to love you.
And they're going to love you, yeah. And they're going to be there with you through the bad times and the good. And that means the bad records and the good ones. And they'll tell you the truth. I think I cannot say that enough, especially as a 43-year-old woman who's been doing this since I was 18 with mostly the same people. It's more than loyalty. It's more than anything else. It really is just about like having people you can trust, rely on, and will be there for you. And also be brutally fucking honest. I think that's the most important thing that you can do is like, I guess an artist.
Stay true to yourself at all costs.
Sorry, Beth, you got cut off. What did you say?
Oh, I was just joking. I'm more of a crafter. Like when people are like artists, I'm like, I don't see one around me. Nathan's an artist, but I always feel like I'm more of like I'm kind of like I don't know, I guess I'm the Joanne Fabrics of the group. So, and I'm happy.
Well, I appreciate both of you. Thank you so much for taking this time to chat and hang out with me.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you.
No, thank you. Sorry, Beth, go ahead.
I said, bless your heart for getting through this. You did it.
Exactly. Sorry about the chaos.
No, that's what I love about doing this is it's not about me at all. It's about you two. And I loved you guys bouncing back and forth, chatting about your childhood and stuff. I thought that was so cool.
Never about you. It's always about the song. Same thing.
Bringing it backward.